I'm David Leis for Merit TV's 2025 election. For your policy watch this weekend, it's April the 4th, and here are your top headlines. And of course, we would focus on the tariff story that's emerged on April 2nd. We heard about Liberation Day as enunciated by President Donald Trump, where he sought to seek fair and free trade for the United States. He wants to pursue the so-called principle of reciprocity, the whole idea that if you pursue a 0% tariff, then we will as well in the United States. So as we look at this unfolding, the question is, why is the United States doing this policy? Well, in the words of the presidents, we are tired of decades of being ripped off by other, both friends and foes and countries alike. So in this context, we know that the United States is applying a tariff of 10% baseline on all trading partners, and that will go into effect on April 5 at 12:01. Additional reciprocal tariffs will be implemented on April 9 at 12:01. And we know that in the case of Canada and Mexico, that they will remain under a 25% fentanyl response tariff regime for now. So we stay tuned in this dynamic situation. In the case of Canada, we know that Canada's response has been to step back from a full retaliatory response, but to impose a 25% tariff on U.S. autos, but not on parts. So as we go forward, the question is, what are Canada's possible responses? Well, one of them has been enunciated by all of our parties, namely to provide some type of compensation or potential support for workers that are displaced, including auto workers, and to also look at further retaliations as this story unfolds. It also goes without saying that all parties have articulated a need to diversify our economy, to trade with other parties, including the Europeans or parties in Asia. We also know that this has also raised the inevitable part that we are entering into a negotiation with the U.S. administration to frankly renegotiate many of our existing trade agreements. And finally, surely the opportunity, and this is the question, is every Canadian needs to think about how our country helps to rebuild and strengthen the Canadian economy. Why is it that Canada doesn't have free trade in our own nation? Why is it that, for example, you can't really buy BC wine in Ontario liquor stores? Surely we need free trade now. That's all there is today on April the 4th. That's a highlight, and I hope that's helpful to you.